everybody. Welcome back to the show. Well, you know, you decide to ride a motorcycle on a big adventure trip, and it turns into the best love story you're ever going to hear.
Yeah, no kidding. There's so many great elements to the story of our next guest, and she is appearing at the Vancouver Motorcycle Show, which runs at the TradeX Thursday all the way through Sunday. She'll be doing a presentation every day, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Adrienne Denham joining us now to tell us her adventure/love story.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Now, first of all, tell us a little bit about where you got the inspiration to go on this trip and where you actually went.
I had wanted to do the trip for a long, long time. I don't really know where South America got into it, but I always knew that I was going to do a big trip on a motorcycle. I don't know where that came from, but the first time you get on a motorcycle, I think it was when I was in university, you just have that feeling and you breathe and you feel the bike underneath you.
It's adventure.
And you know that this is the way to travel. I knew it for me. So I had it sort of in my brain for probably about 14 years. Yeah, that I just thought, what, someday I'll have the time and the money. Yeah. And then, you know, life worked out in such a way that I actually ended up, I got the opportunity.
Finish high school, university, start your career.
Yeah.
And this was actually after the Olympics in Vancouver, because you were working with the Olympics. Yeah. You knew your job was ending.
Exactly.
And there's this window that opened up.
Well, when I knew that the job ended February 28, 2010, right? Like we can all remember
to the day. Yeah.
And I was on a plane to Mexico that day.
I thought, I've got to save my money because this is my chance. And so I saved all my money, and then I rented my house, and that worked out really well for me, and I knew the timing that I wanted to go, and I bought the bike. So I bought a Suzuki DR 650.
I was going to say, let's go bike nerd.
Just a little bike.
Yeah, it's little for the big adventures, right? A lot of the big adventure bikes are a lot bigger, but this is, I needed something I could lift by myself.
Right.
Of course.
So it's the smallest big bike that you can get, and I can lift it. And I got, his name is Dirk.
Well, let's have a look at some pictures, because this will tell the story of where you went. This is you and Dirk. Is this right at the beginning?
Wait, that's right, the first day. That's Colombia.
We are forgetting a very important detail on this, and you just sort of brushed past it. You were alone on this trip.
I did it solo, unsupported. No one, I just did it by myself. Yeah.
Balls!
Yeah, maybe more than brains, perhaps.
Thank God it worked out. Now, this is a great photo, too, but the drop on the side is really distracting to me.
Yeah, it was, and there's some slippery road tracks going off the side, you might notice, but I was by myself, so you had to get creative with your photography, too, right?
No kidding. And
I met a fellow named Simon Whitehead on a very, very remote road in northern Peru. This is the moment that we met. And
who is Simon in your life now?
Well, fast forward, we got married in September, and that's us on our wedding day.
How did the journey split off? And so that you're married now, obviously. The moment that you met was on this journey. You're on a motorcycle, he's on a bike.
Unplanned.
Never the twain shall meet again, one would think, but it seems like fate was in your court. So how did this work out?
On a couple of different occasions, actually, fate worked that way. I came across Simon on this remote road, and I pulled up beside him, and he was going along. He did it on a push bike. He rode his bicycle 11,000 kilometers from Quito, Ecuador to Ushuaia, Argentina. And I was on a motorcycle, so we weren't going to connect. But I pulled up beside him on this road, and I pulled off my helmet with my Canadian flag on it, and I looked at him and I said, my name's Adrienne and I'm from Canada, who are you? And he introduced himself, and instantly there was a connection. And so after that, neither of us wanted to compromise too much. This is the trip of the lifetime. I'm not going to compromise.
Yeah, not for some guy.
For a boy.
What is this little story about? You guys were supposed to go on a date, but he passed out. He stood you up.
I said, I'll meet you in 2 days in Juarez. And little did we know, it was 200 kilometers uphill. So he rode as hard as he could, slept on a cliff. Then he rode as hard as he could the next day. And the story goes is he got to Juarez, and he had a beer, and he passed out. And the real story is he stood me up, right?
That's how you saw things.
So I'm standing by myself in the town square waiting for some guy from the UK to show up, and he never did.
You probably cleaned up from your bike and everything.
But then he connected with me the next day. We spent 3 days together. But then we said, I can't compromise my trip. So get this. We leave Juarez and we say goodbye. I'll probably never see you again. It was lovely. You're so handsome, but it was lovely. Goodbye. Off we go, and we're both on the same road. We're both going to do a huge pass over the Andes. It's unmarked on any roads. We're both doing the same one, but I head up on the bike, so I'm hours ahead of him, and I get caught in a snowstorm. And a snowstorm moved in, and I was at 4,900 meters, and a snowstorm moved in.
Good God.
Dirk and I went down. It took me an hour to pick him up and turn him around. Another couple of hours to try to get out of the snowstorm. An avalanche came down and shut the road off to the left of me. I turned around, I started going back down, and guess who I ran into on my way back down?
It is a movie. If anybody's watching that has this should be the best love story ever told.
I was beside myself, and Simon went into, he went into hero mode. He popped up a tent and he made me soup. I was crying because I'd escaped, death.
Yeah,
basically.
Dirk and I survived.
Dirk and I survived, and he popped up a tent and he made me my dinner, and then we watched a movie on his iPad.
There are so many things to talk about in this, but
hang on, we're girls here. We got to relish the moment.
We're talking about this connection and everything else, but having traveled a little bit by myself, the lessons that you learn about your own capabilities and the things that are possible for you to deal with and overcome, how much of that did you learn on this trip that you, by yourself, are capable of accomplishing?
Well, I learned I can pick up a 400-pound motorcycle at altitude. I learned that I can push a broken motorcycle across the Salar de Uyuni, which is the world's largest salt flat.
Yeah.
Right? There's legends of motorcycles that have been left there to rot.
And you're alone.
And I was alone.
And you were on the salt flats.
Yeah.
Now, is that where this picture is? Where's this?
That's a different salt flat. The bike was working at this point. That's northern Argentina. But
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Man, what was it like for you to be alone somewhere like that and just enjoy the view?
It's pretty amazing. You have to get used to traveling alone. You have to get over your jitters and your fears. But I have to say, I love it now. I really fell in love. Well, that is one of my favorite pictures. That is
beautiful.
Near Torres del Paine, and a New Yorker took that picture of me. And I'm way out there all by myself.
Yeah.
And he sent it to me later, and I thought that picture really captured sort of what it feels like to be alone. You have all the freedom in the universe. You wake up when you want to wake up. You go in the direction that you want to go. I didn't have a GPS. I didn't have a phone.
You're nuts.
No, but who would you call? I had a whistle. If anything happened, I had a whistle, right?
Just to keep on tuning.
Who was I going to call?
Who
My
are you
mom?
going to call? Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm stuck.
Where are you? Well,
who knows?
There's a lot of things. So one last question before we go. Does Simon ride a motorcycle, or have you taken over on the bicycle, or
We've done both.
You've done both.
Of course he has a motorcycle license. I mean, it's a prerequisite. But
Congratulations on your trip.
Incredible
and of course,
story.
the great story. If you want to hear more, of course, she'll be speaking at the Vancouver Motorcycle Show, which is starting on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday she'll be speaking twice a day. Thank you so much, Adrienne.
Yeah, absolutely lovely. And of course, we just glimpsed some of the photographs, but I know you've got a ton.
6,000? Is that how many?
Well, yeah. About
You're going to pare them down a little bit, but they will be absolutely stunning. Thank you so much. What a pleasure to meet you. We're going to take a break.